Hi, hello, good evening. Welcome to the Rajeev YSR show, episode 3. Right now, we are live on LinkedIn, we are live on YouTube, and we are live on Facebook. So, whosoever is accessing from different parts of the world and at the same time on different platforms, you can kind of say hi and you can kind of mention that you are there. Yeah. Okay. So, once again, I wish you very, very happy Christmas and happy New Year 2021. First of all, let me congratulate you. Let me congratulate for the fighter who is in you, because we are all sure that this new year has given us a much more tougher time than any of the years. I mean, the previous year, the past year has given us much more tougher time than any of the years. Hi, Mandar. Good to see you. But I'm sure that you have endured all these things despite the COVID-19, despite the recession, despite some people losing jobs, despite some people losing the loved ones, despite all these odds. You have yet stood strongly and you have yet, in the sense, thrived through it. So, first of all, take a bow to the fighter in you. Yeah. Without much delay, let's begin the Raji YSR show. Now, as I said, this Rajeev YSR show is every Wednesday event at 7 p.m., where I will engage with all of you, discuss more about the growth aspect, especially from the 10x point of view, and also going forward, we will have different guests coming on to this Rajeev YSR show. Those will be the CXOs of different organizations, entrepreneurs, founders of different startups, and then we will learn from them of how they have adopted these 10x growth principles and achieved 10x growth in their lives. Right. So without much delay, let's move on. I see Mandar's comment here. Great to see you, Mandar. Hi. Who else is there? You can say hi, and then whoever is watching, you can kind of share this particular thing on your page, so that the others can also see it. You can share it with people. Yeah. Okay. So now let me share my screen and I will start. So this will be exactly for 1 hour's time. So we will try to uh, cover as much as possible. I will, of course, take through what we have done last week, and at the same time, I'll also brief you what we're going to cover in the next few minutes. Just a minute, please. Yeah. Now, please confirm if you are able to. Yeah. So please confirm if you are able to. So my wife is confirming me from the other room that yes, I'm live on all the channels. So it's interesting. Now, yeah. Perfect. So without much delay, let's move on. I see in this context the screen is it complete or not? Okay, let me just. Okay. Yeah. So we spoke about what Rajeev YSR show is. We also uh, one second, just a minute, please. Yeah. So we spoke last time what Rajeev YSR show is all about, and we are actually doing a kind of series on 10x growth. A quick introduction about myself. Yes, I'm Rajeev YSR, bachelor's masters from IT Madras, with 11 years of experience working with organizations such as Bosch, Mahindra, TVS Motors, Topper, and Gati. And during both my studies and as well as in my career, I was able to witness 10x growth, and I have tried to compile all of them into a single module, simple modules, and the attempt is to share with you so that you can also achieve 10x growth. There are different platforms where I've conducted this workshop. These are few of the feedbacks. I know you're not able to see, but just to tell you, and these are different brands that I've worked with. And like last time we saw what is 10x growth. We saw that 10x growth is not a 10% growth. It is basically 1,000% growth, which is basically a 10x growth. And 10x growth actually requires a different mindset, different perception, and a different paradigm shift. It is not productivity increase, it is not efficiency increase. And we also spoke about the story of an elephant, how sometimes it is always our thoughts that limit our capacity and capability and nothing else. So we need to really come out of that particular mental lock that we have, and then we should be able to think in 10x quantum. So I said, whosoever you are, whether you are a student or a corporate or an entrepreneur, you can always break those myths and come into 10x mode. Okay, and it's time to break free. So I told you in my first episode for all of you to kind of write down what your 10x goal is. Simple, where are you today and where you want to be going forward. That is exactly how I wanted it to be. So I'm sure you would have written all your goals in detail. Now, let's move on. If you haven't written, I strongly recommend that you write it down now. And we also said 10x growth is not right a man running at 120, 150 kmph. It is all about cheetah. We spoke about 10x growth is not a car which is at 60, 90 kmph running at 600, 900. We spoke about, we are talking about flight. Similarly, it is not about Earth, but it's about Jupiter, and not about Burj Khalifa, but about Mount Everest. What exactly we mean is 10x growth is not a productivity increase or an efficiency increase. It is a complete paradigm shift. There needs to be a change in which we see. Okay. Then we also saw where 10x as a concept originated from, and the one who introduced that into the corporate world is Larry Page, the founder of Google, where he expects all his programmers to kind of run, to kind of develop the programs at 10x speed, which means the ability to see the possible roadblocks and the ability to see possible roadblocks and define and provide solutions to them even before these roadblocks become obstacles for the growth, and then bring speed. Then we also saw what is 10x to the core. 10x to the core is nothing but the mindset. Again, as we said, 10x to the core means having a clear vision of the end goal and using our past experience, intuition, and foresight. We should be able to clear those roadblocks or bugs, because if those go undetected, they will hinder our growth. Then importantly, we also saw why 10x growth is important to us, because growth as such is an innate nature of nature. Right? We saw examples of how we can mimic nature and learn from it. If growth is innate nature of nature, then you and I are part of growth, and so growth is innate nature of you and me. So we cannot shy away from growth. And again, as we also mentioned, one of the main reasons for stress is stagnation, no growth, right? That is one of the main reasons for stress, and that is because we are against the innate nature of nature, that is growth. So once we start growing, then all the stress and everything will start coming down. Then we also read that growth is not an option, It's an obligation, it's a responsibility, and it's a very nature that we are all alive. Then we also looked at this beautiful framework, haven't we? Right? We looked at results. How do we get 10x results? We get results basis the kind of actions that we take, and how our actions are dependent upon the thoughts that we carry. Our thoughts are dependent upon the belief system that we carry. And again, how is our belief system defined? Our belief system is further influenced by the results, which become the experiences and influence the belief system. That means what we have, that is where we have answered the question last time. Can a successful person can always remain successful, and can a person who is witnessing failures will continue to remain as a failure? That question we have said that yes, the answer is yes, because your results, if they are successful, they become your successful experiences, and then they influence your belief system that yes, you can do it. And when they influence your belief system, your thoughts will be positive, your actions will be positive, and your results also will be positive. On the other hand, if there is some bad bitter experience that you're carrying, and yeah, if suppose you're carrying a bad bitter experience and you want to see and then bad bitter experience that you're carrying, but then you realize that that experience becomes your kind of result becomes your experience. It will start influencing your belief system, your thoughts. Then you will kind of start with a lot of ambiguity, a lot of like not so confident, etc., right? So that is going to influence it. That's what we have seen. And great to see Job Thomas, great to see Praveen. Lot many people today. Hi Kevin, great to see Kevin. They can see the screen. Excellent. Please keep interactive on the chat box. I will talk to you. People who are watching on Facebook, you can always interact. Whoever watching on Facebook or LinkedIn, I strongly recommend that you start sharing this particular event on your page. Okay, let's move on now. So this particular thing we have seen, this is a fantastic framework for all of us to kind of understand and then see how we can benefit from it. And then but then the beauty thing is we also decided, and we also saw that none of these things can need to remain as they are. Everything can be changed, right? Everything can be changed, including our belief system. That is where we saw, right, the 10x growth at the onset, and at the core is all about mindset. We also saw an example of a tractor being driven, right? We need to get into the right groove. That is what we need to get into the right groove. Look at it. Even human mind is also like grooves. We need to get the 10x groove into our human mind, and then things will automatically start taking 10x shape, right? Without much delay, let me continue. We also saw this particular Lao Tzu's statement. Your thoughts becomes your words, words becomes your actions, actions your habits, habits character, and character your destiny. If 10x growth is our destiny, then we have no option but to work on every aspect of results, actions, thoughts, and belief system. Okay, let's move on. Then we spoke about two different kind of frameworks. We spoke about a fixed mindset and a growth mindset. In fact, we also saw why it is important for us to adopt the right mindset, because choices are very important. I've shown this movie. This is a short movie, very nice. And fixed mindset people, we saw the difference between fixed mindset and growth mindset. Let me spend some time here. So the fixed mindset people, they always think in this direction, right? Fixed mindset people always think that, hey, you know what? When challenges come, they kind of avoid and go. But whereas growth mindset people kind of embrace these challenges. When obstacles come, fixed mindset give up so easily, but growth mindset people are consistent. When it is about to put efforts, fixed mindset thinks that, hey, efforts are futile to put. They think that I am talented enough to kind of get things done. They consider efforts to be futile. Criticism, they cannot. They cannot take criticism, and in fact useful feedback also they cannot kind of consider. Whereas growth mindset people, we will see what they do. Success of others, fixed mindset people feel very much I would say very much insecure about it. But then growth mindset people get inspired from the success of others, right? Great Samba Shivrao, Porella, good. Hi Sushil Valapil, nice to talk to you. Nice to see you. You can also mention where you're watching from, which part of the country or world you're watching from. It would be great to see. Now let's move on. Let's move on without further delay. Then we've also seen how different kinds of people will kind of One second. Yeah, we've also seen how different kind of people react, and especially we saw how should growth mindset people react. Challenges we ought to embrace, obstacles we need to overcome, efforts we should always look at as a pathway towards mastery. Criticism is always a means to improve and grow from where we are to the next level. Success of others should always be taken and be inspired, and the status quo should always be continuous and constant growth. I think these 15 minutes is where we have kind of refreshed what we have learned in episode 1 and episode 2. And now, without much delay, let's get into episode 3. So in this episode 3, let me begin with the final framework. What is the framework for 10x growth? The framework for 10x growth is we all need to attain, we all need to develop that growth mindset. What is the growth mindset? Challenges, I embrace them. Obstacles, I'll be persistent in overcoming them. Efforts, I look at as a pathway towards mastery. If it is criticism, I will take that as means to improvement. Success of others, I will be inspired by the success of others. And then the status quo, the growth, I will always be happy with respect to the growth that uh, I have achieved. Just a minute, the camera is off. Let me just check. Yes, the camera is back now. Okay, so now let's move on to the. Let me turn it a bit. Yes. Yeah. So now let's move on. So this is all about the framework. And then what is the framework? If at all we need to achieve 10x results, our actions should be 10x results oriented. Our thoughts should be 10x oriented, and our belief system should be 10x oriented. Okay. Now, when we do this, what happens is last time we saw about the vicious circle, right? A failure once will always continue to remain as failure. And now we have seen what it is to be a successful mindset is. The successful mindset talks like this: when your belief, your thoughts, your actions, and your results are all 10x oriented, then it is an upward spiral, right? Everything that you do becomes successful. Every small success that you witness will add more to your confidence. I'm sorry. Yeah, will add more to your confidence, and that is how you will be able to achieve 10x results in life. Now, the most important thing that is coming up, right? We also saw incremental mindset will not give us exponential results. If at all we need exponential results, we need to have incremental mindset, right? Now I'm giving an assignment to people who are watching it right now. This assignment 1 that I've given on episode 1 and episode 2, I asked you to define your goal, right? I asked you to define your goal, what your 10x goal is. Now assignment 2, introspect and reflect on your patterns. Evaluate your belief system, evaluate your thought process. Are your thought process always progressive and proactive and towards building, or are your thoughts kind of right, vicious negative circle which are pulling you down? Reflect upon them and whatsoever, and watch out how those thoughts are influencing your actions, your results, and your experiences. And let me tell you, it is time for you to note it down, because this is a saying, right? A problem statement well defined is half done. So if you're able to identify, if you're able to introspect and reflect the right things, then you'll be able to take the corrective actions. Okay, so let's move on. Now, the most important thing I told you, that we will talk about Ikigai. What is this Ikigai? Right? How many of you are excited? Okay, first let me talk to you. How many of you are excited about this Ikigai? Hi. Yeah, type it down if you are excited about this Ikigai. How many of you know what Ikigai is? I'm sure most of you know what Ikigai is, but still I want you to kind of show it what Ikigai is. Ikigai is a Japanese framework. It is kind of a secret to happy life. That is how people see it. And it is very, very powerful. It is definitely, and it is really very powerful. Okay. Now let me take you through what this Ikigai is all about. Yeah. Are you great? Great. Good to see your comments. And let's move on. So one can always achieve 10x growth only when he is able to align his passion, purpose, and gifting. How many of you believe that everybody, each one of us, is gifted at something or the other? Do you believe, right? Some of us are gifted at singing, some of us are gifted at drawing, some of us are gifted at speaking, some of us are gifted at studies, some of us are gifted at sports, some of us are gifted at I would say writing, some of us are gifted at at cooking, some of us are gifted at public speaking, right? So when your gift, your passion, right, and the purpose for which you are here on the earth, when all these things are aligned together, that is what the Ikigai factor is all about. Let's get into the detail. Okay. Now, I want you to answer these questions for yourself. Answer. What is that? Who am I? Who are you? Well, you might say that I'm a teacher, I'm a software engineer, I'm a sales professional. Well, that is a profession that is defining you. But I want you to even think a layer deeper and find out who you are, right? Answer to these questions. You don't have to mention these in the comments, but then I want you to answer these questions and keep them ready for yourself. Who you are, and what do you love the most? What do you love the most? What do you like to do the most? Okay. And then write them down, all these things that I'm asking you to write them down. Please take a pen and paper and write them down. This is very important. If you are not able to kind of understand, and if you're not able to get an answer right now, continue this active thinking and finish off this assignment even after this show, right? Who am I? What do you love the most? Okay. Are you good at what you love? Say, for example, I'm good. Example, I love to sing, but am I good at singing? Well, my throat may be bad, my voice may be bad, I may not have the right pitch that is coming from. I may not be able to sing the right notes. Right? It is all possible. Correct? Do you agree? Right? Right. Yes. So, are you good at what you love to do? Okay. Then the next one. Does the world need what you are good at? Okay. And will you be paid for? Now, this is going to be a very, very important and very, very significant exercise. Don't be confused with what you're doing right now. There is no hard and fast rule that you will have to be paid or you will have to be good at it. I only want you to introspect, reflect, and understand and answer to these points that are given. Be true to yourself, right? So, who am I? Purpose, passion, and gifting. Now we are going to understand now. The entire Ikigai is pivoted around you. You want to know how? Yes. Keep yourself, you at the center, right? Now, what you love to do is your passion. Listen to this, understand this very, very, very carefully. What you love to do, what you love to do is what your passion is. Write it down. Some of you want to teach. Teaching is your passion, right? Write it down. Again, I'm saying don't be confused with your current profession. Your current profession could be something else, but what you love to do is something else. Please write down what you love to do. That's your passion, right? Now, the next thing, are you good at what you love to do? That's called skill. Are you good at what you love to do? Let me take some examples. Right? I'm sure you would have all watched the MS Dhoni's movie. Right? You would have all watched MS Dhoni's movie. Now, in this MS Dhoni's movie, what we see is this, right? We all See, right? Everybody wants Dhoni to become. I mean, his parents want Dhoni to become ticket collector, etc. But then, what he loves to do is he loves to play, and especially he loves to play cricket, right? And is he good at what he was doing? Of course, he is skilled and he is good at what he was doing. Am I right? Yeah. Now, the next one. This is very important. Does the world need what you are good at doing and what you love doing? Does the world need it? Very, 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 very important. Does the world need what you're doing and what you're good at doing? That's very, very important. You need to understand that becomes your mission. That means your passion. That is how it becomes your mission. That is where you see whether what you love to do and what you're good at doing is an opportunity for you to do. And then the last and most important one is, will you be paid for it? That's your reward, right? This pors, right? PORS. What's your passion? Does your passion has an opportunity in the world? Is the world willing to pay for it? Are you getting the reward for it? And do you have enough skill set? Do you have enough skill set to do it at the best? Right? This is exactly, and this is what we mean by the Ikigai. Ikigai is basically centered around you, what you love to do, where your passion lies. Are you good at doing what you do? That's what your skill is. Does the world need it? It's where the opportunity is. And will it pay for it? That's where the reward comes from. Now identify where you are. It is possible, right? You are like, some of us are like MS Dhoni's. Our heart is in cricket, but then we are still stuck as ticket collectors. Or some of us are like, whom do I say, are like Dhirubhai Ambani, right? Our heart is in business, but still we are stuck elsewhere. Some of us are like probably Kamal Hassan. Our heart is somewhere in acting, right? But then, like Kamal Hassan, our heart is at acting, but then we were doing something else, right? When you understand your Ikigai, when you actually understand and answer to all these questions honestly, when you give an honest answer to all these questions, that is exactly when you will be able to get yourself into a position where your purpose, your gifting, and your passion is all aligned in one direction. And when all of these are aligned in one direction, that is when you will be able to achieve 10x growth in life, right? So 10x growth, we have seen what kind of growth mindset we need to have. And now we are seeing, are we operating from the frame of Ikigai? If you are not operating from the frame of Ikigai, my friend, then life would be miserable. You would always feel like you're leading a mediocre life. The growth doesn't come so naturally, and you will have to put in a lot of efforts towards it. Do you understand? And wherever you are lacking, wherever you think you are lacking, right? It is time to invest those efforts and then up your skill, up your game there. Let's move on, right? So this is what Ikigai is all about, and this is what 10x is all about, right? You have any questions? I really want to look at and understand. If at all you have any questions, please post them here. You can post them if at all you have any questions. We'll be happy to have. Now, how many of you have heard this for the first time? How many of you have heard this for the first time? Or how many of you are able to relate and correlate this for the first time? Yeah. How many of you are able to correlate with this for the first time? Hey, Vikas, happy to see you. Hi, Sushil, happy to see you. Right? Don't you think this is very, very interesting? The Ikigai factor, I mean, the ability to operate from the framework of Ikigai and the ability to adopt that growth mindset. And when all these two things are clubbed together, you are bound to achieve 10x growth. You are bound to achieve 10x growth. There cannot be right, any debate. There cannot be any debate about it. right? I'm watching the chat. So whoever have doubts, you can, or any other comments, you can put them on the chat. I'm watching LinkedIn chat, I'm watching Facebook chat, and I'm also watching YouTube chat. Yeah. Okay, let's move on. You look at any successful people, right? You look at any successful people. How can somebody, even I mean, not, don't even consider celebrities, right? Look at people in your own office, look at people on your own floor, look at people in your own network. There are some people who kind of run and work as if this is their last day, right? I mean, you see such a strong passion demonstrated by them. You see such a strong passion demonstrated by them. I'm sure you would have seen such people, right? Seen such people where such strong passion is demonstrated by them. Yeah. Where do you think they get all such kind of drive? They are able to get all such kind of because they are operating from the framework of Ikigai. We need to understand whether we are operating from that framework of Ikigai. Yeah. Let's move on. Let's see, we have a video.
Caught in the wrong job.
Let me play this again for you. Let me play this again for you. Yeah, I'm sure you would have seen this video, right? I mean, it is. Don't you think it is true with some of us where we are still stuck with the same complaining and same whining attitude that, yeah, I mean, going to office every day in the morning is more like it's kind of a punishment. That's because we are not operating from the framework of Ikigai. Well, I would not say that you will have to resign from your job immediately. You will have to close down your job immediately and then go and then start doing something else. But then what I'm trying to address here is that watch out. You are the best judge of yourself. You are the best judge of yourself, and watch out. And if you are not operating from this framework of Ikigai, then the going will continuously get tougher, and you will not be able to enjoy right, the concept of growth at all. Okay, let's move on. Let's continue to move on. Now that we have seen what Ikigai is, we will see a few examples and case studies of different successful people, what their Ikigai was and how they were able to achieve it. Yeah. Okay, let's move on. Look at late Sri Dhirubhai Ambani. He comes from a very humble family in Gujarat. He worked in Yemen before starting his career in India. And you know what he was doing at Yemen? During the morning, during the daytime, he was working, and in the evenings, he was investing himself in learning English, in understanding what trade, in understanding what business, and understanding what financial statements are all about. He would come back from work, give himself up towards learning English and learning business. He would read a lot of dictionaries, he would read a lot of journals, he would read a lot of business magazines. You know, right? You see how he has invested himself. He saw efforts as pathway towards mastery. How many of you know that he has worked actually for 30 years before starting an empire called Reliance? He worked between 1932 to 1962. His Ikigai was very clear. His Ikigai was simple. His Ikigai was to do business and make money. That's it. Okay. And then once he came back from Yemen to India, he knew nothing about yarn importing, right? But he started this yarn importing business. Again, every business that you see Reliance has started, they never had a prior exposure to it. But then he would not leave any stone unturned in understanding and in learning the trade secrets, in learning completely about it, and then get things done. And that was what Dhirubhai Ambani was doing. He started yarn importing business even without knowing anything about it, right? And then after he started yarn importing business, then he realized that this yarn, once imported, is consumed by the textile mills, which would convert these yarns into wearable clothes. Then he realized that converting the yarn into wearable clothes is actually adding more value and actually giving more revenue. What he has done, he moved one step further in the chain. And we all know the story of only Vimal, right? So from a yarn importing, export, trading business, he moved on to textile manufacturing, textile mills. And that is where the brand called Only Vimal has emerged. Okay. Now let's move on. Let's move on. And I will also share this thing. I'm sure some of you know it. While his Vimal brand was expanding, while his Vimal brand was doing decently good, the other textile owners in the community felt very envious or jealous about his growth. Obviously, right? When you grow, it is possible that people around you, not everybody around you, is with a growth mindset. It's online. Not everybody around you is with growth mindset, but we know some people also do not take it in the right context, right? And that was the case for Dhirubhai Ambani also. And you know what they have done? The so-called other community people, they burned his textile mill. And when they burned this textile mill, you know what is the revenge, or how did Dhirubhai Ambani take revenge? He realized that if only I operate with one mill, then I continue to compete with the local other fellow mill owners. Let me up my game. Let me up the antenna. Let me up my game. And from one mill, he expanded to 10, 20, 30, and until 200 mills. And once he expanded to that level, that means he has distanced himself too high from the local competition or from the so-called not so fixed mindset people. Look at the response with which he has responded. He has responded to his critics. He has responded to his to the people who are jealous of him. He has responded with growth, right? And after that, we see the success story of Reliance, right? Not just with textiles, they were into petrochemicals, oil, gas, telecom, and the second generation of Mr. Mukesh Ambani and right Anil Ambani. You know the story. Rest is history, right? They are into everything. They are into everything. And with GeoMart, they are also into FMCG. They are also into. I mean, they are now competing with big baskets. They are competing with Amazons. Their Reliance brick and mortar supermarkets. Everywhere they are there, right? What is it that Dhirubhai Ambani has done here? Dhirubhai Ambani has stuck to one single thing, that what his Ikigai was. His Ikigai was to do business and make money. Okay. Okay. Now, I'm just curious to understand before I jump to Bill Gates. How many of you have a similar Ikigai as that of Dhirubhai Ambani? How many of you have a similar Ikigai to that of Dhirubhai Ambani? To do business and to make money. If at all you have the same thing, I think it's time for you to actually kind of put yourself into that particular context and then keep moving, keep really moving. Yeah, it's very very important. Okay, now identify what your Ikigai is, identify where your passion lies. Now let's move on. Let's understand the story of Bill Gates, right? I mean, this is very interesting. Bill Gates in his childhood and even now, that's what his wife Melinda says, is very, very conservative man. And but then, though he was conservative, he was so conservative that even if certain guests come to his house, even if friends of his sisters come to his house, he would always go into a room, lock himself up. In fact, there are many instances where there is a beautiful, I would say, uh, uh, documentary on Bill Gates on Netflix. I strongly recommend you to watch. Very inspirational. Where her mother, I mean, her sisters say that one of the biggest challenges Bill Gates' mother used to face during his adolescent and teenagers was to keep him occupied and to keep him mingled with the rest of the children in the neighborhood, right? So such a conservative boy, but then he was an ardent reader of books, and you won't believe his reading speed is 100 to 150 pages an hour. His secretary in the article in the documentary says that whenever Bill Gates goes for a foreign trip, apart from the regular stuff that goes as part of the convoy and arrangement, there would be baskets of books that the secretary needs to arrange, because during his flight time, during his travel time on the cars, etc., he would just finish off books just like that, 100 and 150 pages per hour. Can you just believe it? Right? He always likes to stay himself and solve problems, and his ikigai was to code. Coding was his ikigai. And when he followed that ikigai of coding, you know the story of Windows, right? There's nothing that we need to talk about. In fact, he's one of the richest man on the earth, right? Of course, now his Sisha Jeff Bezos is there, but then for many years he remained as the richest man on this face of the earth, right? And then again, let me tell you, ikigais need not remain same throughout life. Example: while he was at the helm of his career, while he was the chairman of Microsoft, he has taken Microsoft to places. But after stepping down from Microsoft, now you know Melinda and Gates Foundation, what they work into. They work into sanitation, they work into health, they work into vaccines, they work into education, they work into everything. They are actually giving back a lot of their fortune back to the world, to make a world a better place. And if you see, right now, as I said, right, his ikigai at this point of time is toiletry and sanitation. And Bill Gates runs a very, very strong campaign, especially in the third world countries, to ensure that a clean toiletry and sanitation is available for every human being, right? Do you believe that? Do you believe that Bill Gates is doing this? And right now he's chasing this ikigai of his. What is your ikigai? What is your ikigai? Right? Write it down. Write down what your ikigai is. Okay, let's move on. This is another beautiful story. But before this, let me play this video for you. Okay, let's move on. बात करना चाहिए. तेरा और आठ. Let me play this video for you. अरे बात करना चाहिए, मन हल्का हो जाता है. सर हम सोच रहे थे कि हम कर क्या रहे. हम एक क्रिकेटर है लेकिन टीसी का काम कर रहे हैं. How many of you identify yourself with this beautiful scene from the movie of Dhoni? Right? It is, my friends, it is time for greater reflection. I mean, what we are talking is a very, very, very powerful stuff. If you do not operate from the frame of Ikigai, achieving 10x, forget about 10x growth, achieving any kind of significant growth is like a uphill task. You will have to put in a lot of efforts and energy in doing that. But once you operate from the frame of Ikigai, growth comes so natural. It's like a breeze, it's like a cakewalk. Yeah. Now let's move to the other case study. Right, let's move to the other case study of great human being, great lady that ever existed on this world, Mother Teresa. Right? For Mother Teresa, serving was Ikigai, her Ikigai, and she was able to find this out at the age of 12. Okay, she was able to find this out at the age of 12. At the age of 19, she reached India in 1929. Okay, though she was teaching, right? But then when she was looking at the poverty around her, she was strongly disturbed. She was really strongly disturbed. And especially the Bengal famine of 1943 really moved her. Look at this. Some of you might think, I need to be really rich. I need to have all resources. I need to have access for everything to achieve growth. No, you need to operate from the frame of Ikigai, and rest of the things are taken care. Look at the case of Mother Teresa, right? She had nothing. All she had was two saris with the blue border that you see in the photo. And then in 1943, she started missionaries of, after the 1943 Bengal famine, in 1950, she started the missionaries of charity. And not just that, since she wanted to work among the poor, since she wanted to work among the people affected with leprosy, since she wanted to work among the afflicted, she trained herself into basic medical expertise in Bihar. This is what I call that if you identify that you're lagging in skill, it is time for you to equip yourself with that skill. It is time for you to equip yourself with that skill. And then the rest is history. How missionaries of charity impacted the whole world, not just India, but the whole world. And these are few beautiful words of her, which always are source of inspiration to me, and I'm sure they will remain a source of inspiration to you. This is what she says: my work may be a small drop in the ocean, but that ocean will be lessened because of that missing drop. My friends, even some of you might be thinking, right? I mean, for some of you for whom serving is Ikigai, you might think that, how many people am I impacting? What am I doing? Am I really able to serve the whole world? Right? I'm doing such a small work. Will it really have an impact? Let us be inspired and let us learn from this great lady. What did she say? She said that my work might be a small drop in the ocean, but even that ocean will be lessened because of that missing drop. Let me tell you, one of my Ikigai is to connect with people, to communicate with people, to encourage people, to kind of disturb people and then say, hey guys, where is your growth? What are you doing with the great life God has gifted you with? God has gifted you with this wonderful life. What impact are you creating? What is it that you're doing with this life? Like, that's my Ikigai. I really want to encourage. I really want to kind of give that shout out to people. And then, you know what? Hey, you can do a lot, many things than what you can do. But then I'm not sure how many people are watching this. I'm not sure how many people this message and this call is going. But then I draw that inspiration from this lady. Rajeev YSR show might not reach so many hundreds and thousands of people. It doesn't really matter. But if I do not do this show, even those limited number of people to whom it is reaching and to whom it is impacting, it will not be done. So I really do not bother much about the ability to see the impact it is creating, because I know for sure deep in my heart that it will create the impact and it will fulfill the purpose for which this show has been created for. Right? And same is the thing that I'm talking to you, friends. And same is the thing I'm talking to you. Do not be discouraged, do not be disheartened to follow your Ikigai. Do not be discouraged by the kind of outcome that you see, which may not be in sync with what your expectation is. Doesn't really matter. What all matters is just that one thing, that even if there is one person who is impacted, who is moved, who is touched, that's what all it matters, right? Let's move on. Okay, now we have seen what Mahendra Singh Dhoni was battling, right? He was running between platforms, he was looking for tickets as a ticket collector, etc. Had he remained there, we would not be talking about him now. But he did not remain there, and this is what happened, right? I'm playing this for you, watch it.
उधर खड़गपुर में जो उधर खड़गपुर में जॉब का सिक्योरिटी में फंस गया ना बाबा, तो हम आगे कुछ नहीं कर पाएंगे।
Let me play this again.
उधर खड़गपुर में जॉब का सिक्योरिटी में फंस गया ना बाबा, तो हम आगे कुछ नहीं कर पाएंगे।
Yeah. Did you see that? Can you see that? Could you see that? Yeah. Really, really, really important. I mean, look at the kind of statements that he has made, right? If he is stuck, had he stuck with the with that particular thing of job security or peer pressure or parents pressure, or had he just remained there, probably he would have been a ticket collector now. But then he decided to venture out, he decided to move out, and he decided to understand and operate from his Ikigai. My friends, let me tell you something. Imagine this. Had Dhoni not followed his Ikigai, who could have been at a greater loss? Type it down. Who could have been at a greater loss? Had Dhoni not exercised Ikigai? Do you think Dhoni would be at greater loss? I don't think so. Probably instead of living in a big villa and bungalow right now, probably he would be living in a small apartment. Maybe instead of driving so many foreign cars and imported bikes, he might be driving a decent, probably hatchback. He would still have his own life decently run. But you know who would be at greater loss? It is you, it is me, it is our nation, India. Why I'm saying this statement? If you do not exercise your right to growth, if you do not exercise your obligation to grow, if you do not start operating from your framework of Ikigai, you are not at loss. The nation is at loss because you did not exercise your growth and your obligation towards growth. Yeah. With this, let me conclude the episode 3 of the Rajeev YSR show. Thank you very much, all the participants who have been here: Manda, Job Thomas, Praveen, Sambasivarao, Kevin, Sushil, Vikas, who would have seen from different platforms, right? Thank you very much for joining. I'm sure this particular thing has acted and is adding value to all of you who are watching it. If you find that you're finding this valuable, I would strongly recommend you all to share with 1 or 2 points what you would have learned right now on your wall, sharing this particular live video. Share whatever you would have learned right on your page, and let it reach your network. Encourage students, encourage young professionals, encourage entrepreneurs to be part of it. And now, with this, we have almost completed the 10x growth module in these 3 episodes. Next episode, let's wait in expectation of what we are going to see. I would like to invite some of my participants in the old show, how this 10x growth with Rajeev YSR impacted them, and what are the actions that they have taken that is taking them towards 10x growth. I will invite them as a personal invitation, as an interview, and interview them there online. And also, there are certain organizations and entrepreneurs who would like to come on to this Rajeev YSR show and share their learnings and share their thoughts. I also will involve them and invite them and conduct these interviews going forward. If some of you want to be interviewed and you want to be talked about on this Rajeev YSR show, do reach out to me and we can definitely do it. Once again, thank you very much. Wish you a very, very happy new year. All the very best. And this is Rajeev, always committed to your growth, signing off from the Rajeev YSR show. Choose. Bye-bye. The time is exactly 8 p.m., 1 hour of the Rajeev YSR show, episode 3. Bye-bye.